What he didn't know, what no one realized, was that she wasn't as powerless as she seemed. Beneath her quiet composure lay a secret strength, a hidden force that could turn the world he flaunted upside down. And in that moment, the first crack in his arrogance appeared. The woman he thought he could break was preparing a reckoning he would never see coming. This is the story of betrayal, hidden power, and the slow, inevitable rise of someone underestimated. And today it is being retold by me. Hello, family. Welcome back. Before we begin, I have a small but heartfelt request. Please subscribe. Your support is what keeps these stories alive. Every time you click that button, you're helping us share voices that would otherwise be forgotten and stories that deserve to be heard. And in the comments, tell us where you're watching from and what time it is there. Because together we are not just telling stories, we are keeping hope alive. The Thompson mansion glowed with golden lights that spilled across its marble floors. The Thompson mansion glowed with golden lights that spilled across its marble floors. Crystal chandeliers hung like frozen fireworks above the dining hall. The long mahogany table, polished to a mirror shine, stretched from one end of the room to the other. It was set with china plates, silver cutlery, and glasses that sparkled under the light. The dinner was meant to be a celebration, Jamal Thompson's idea, of course. He loved flexing his wealth, his family name, and his power in the real estate game. Everyone who mattered was there. Relatives, business partners, old buddies from the block who'd made it big. They filled the seats with laughter, polite smiles, and murmurs of admiration for the Thompson empire. At the far side of the table sat Aisha Thompson. She wore a soft blue dress, simple compared to the glittering outfits of the other women. Her dark hair was tied neatly back, her posture calm. She spoke little, only smiling politely when someone addressed her. To many in the room, Aisha was invisible. To Jamal, she was worse than that. Jamal sat at the head of the table, raising his wine glass. To family, he boomed, his voice echoing across the hall. To success, to honor, to legacy. The guests echoed the toast, glasses clinking. Aisha lifted hers quietly, her hands steady. She did not need to speak. She'd never been the center of attention in this house. Jamal noticed. He always did. Aisha, he snapped suddenly, sharp enough to slice through the chatter. You gonna sit there mute again? Heads turned. Some smiled awkwardly. Others pretended not to hear. Aisha lowered her glass gently. I figured your words covered it, Jamal, she said softly. A small smile touched her lips, the kind that aimed to keep the peace, not stir it up. Jamal's laugh was cold, like ice cracking. Of course, always the quiet one. No input, no spark. Useless at home, useless in chit-chat. Tell me, Aisha, why the hell are you even here? The room fell silent. Aisha's fingers tightened around her glass, but her face stayed calm. Loretta Thompson, Jamal's mom, leaned forward. She was decked out in black silk, her gray hair pulled tight, eyes sharp as daggers. She's here 'cause you married her, Jamal, Loretta said, her tone dripping disdain. Though Lord knows why. She came from nothing. That rundown spot, that no-name family. We warned you she wasn't cut for the Thompsons. Aisha's chest tightened, but she didn't budge. She was used to Loretta's jabs. They were like knives she'd learned to take without bleeding out loud. Jamal smirked, egged on by his mom's backup. He leaned back in his chair, stretching his arms like he owned the world, which in real estate, he pretty much did. Damn right. Look at her, parked there like a statue. No fire, no vibe, no presence. Tell me, Aisha, what do you even bring to this table, besides sucking up our air and hogging a seat? The guests shifted uncomfortably. Some dropped their eyes to their plates. Others swapped glances, waiting to see how far Jamal would push it. Aisha looked at him, her voice steady, almost too chill. I bring loyalty, Jamal, and respect. Her words hung there, simple but heavy. Jamal's jaw clenched. He hated her coolness. It made him feel played, even though she hadn't raised her voice. Loyalty, he scoffed. Respect? Don't make me laugh. Ain't nobody here respecting you. A soft gasp rippled through the table. Aisha's eyes flickered for a split second, pain flashing before she swallowed it down. Keisha Johnson, seated to Aisha's left, quickly touched her hand under the table. She leaned closer, whispering, "Don't let him get under your skin." Aisha glanced at her friend, grateful for the warmth in Keisha's brown eyes. Yet when Keisha turned her gaze to Jamal, something unreadable lingered there. Something Aisha missed. Jamal wasn't done. His voice ramped up, laced with that cruel amusement he loved. "You're nothing, Aisha. A ghost in this crib. A bad pick, I regret. How the hell did I end up hitched to someone like you?" He laughed, the kind meant to sting. The room froze, tension thick as fog. Aisha flinched just slightly, her eyes dropping to her plate, hands trembling once before she locked them in her lap. She didn't cry. She didn't snap. She just sat there, shame burning in her gut like hot coals. Jamal laughed louder, his chest heaving with satisfaction. "Look at her. Worthless. Embarrassing. A straight-up joke." Loretta shook her head in fake pity. "This is what you get when you marry down." Malik Thompson, Jamal's younger brother, chuckled low, his eyes sharp, calculating. He got a kick out of the takedown, but for his own twisted reasons. Keisha moved fast. She snatched a napkin from the table and leaned toward Aisha. "Here, girl, take this," she whispered, voice soft and urgent, almost sisterly. Aisha took the napkin, dabbing at an imaginary spot on her dress with small, controlled moves. "Don't listen to him," Keisha murmured close to her ear. "You're better than this, better than him." Aisha's lips pressed tight. She nodded once, not trusting her voice. But as Keisha turned her head, her eyes lingered on Jamal for a beat. The pity on her face faded, swapped for a flicker of something else. Dangerous. Admiration. Longing. It vanished quickly, buried under a mask of loyalty. But if anyone had been watching closely, they'd have caught it. The dining hall stayed frozen in that heavy silence, the kind that presses on your chest like a weight. Forks lay untouched, glasses half raised, eyes darting nervously between Aisha and Jamal. Aisha sat still, napkin in hand, gently blotting nothing. Her face was a mask, porcelain calm holding back a storm. Inside, her chest ached with fire, humiliation, betrayal, grief. But she wouldn't let it spill here. Jamal leaned back, arms crossed, smirking like he'd just won the lotto. "There," he said, loud enough for the whole damn table. "Now she looks how she feels. Pathetic." A few guests stared at their plates, ashamed but too scared of Jamal's clout to pipe up. Others forced nervous chuckles, playing it off as a bad joke. Loretta broke the quiet first. She sighed, shaking her head with that phony sympathy. "Aisha, honey, maybe you should bounce. You ain't exactly fitting the vibe tonight." The words cut deep, delivered with that deliberate cruelty. Loretta's eyes gleamed like she'd been waiting years to drop it. Aisha lifted her gaze slowly, locking eyes with Loretta, calm, unflinching. "Thanks for the concern," she said softly, "but I'm good right here." Her voice was gentle, but the steel underneath made a couple of heads turn. For a second, Loretta's smile slipped. Malik chuckled, swirling his wine. "Oh, come on, Ma. Let her hang. It's prime entertainment. We don't get this kind of show every day." His grin was razor sharp, eyes glinting with mischief. Jamal slapped the table, cracking up at his brother's dig. "Exactly. Let her stay. Let everybody peep what a flop of a wife looks like." Aisha's fingers clenched the napkin in her lap, but she stayed silent. Quiet was her shield right now, even if it looked like folding to everyone else. Keisha leaned in again, whispering urgently, "Aisha, you don't gotta sit through this crap. We can dip right now. Let them choke on their own poison." Aisha turned her head a bit, voice low. "If I bail, Keisha, they win. I ain't handing them that." Keisha's heart tugged, with pity and something she wouldn't name. She admired Aisha's quiet grit, but when her eyes flicked back to Jamal, the admiration shifted. He sat there laughing boldly, owning the room without a care. Power oozed from him, even in his meanness. It stirred something risky in her. The dinner dragged, every minute thick with that tension. Servants moved carefully, scared to draw eyes. Conversations tried restarting, but kept fizzling under the shadow of Jamal's shade. Jamal, though, thrived on it. He raised his glass again, smirking. "To my dear wife," he mocked, "the most loyal, most silent chick in the game. May she never talk, and may she never count. A few nervous laughs bubbled up, though most folks stayed zipped. Nobody dared call him out. Aisha raised her glass too, hands steady. Her eyes swept the table, over Jamal, Loretta, Malik, and the guests who looked ashamed. Her lips curved into the faintest smile. To family, she said simply, voice calm, clear, steady. The words were basic, but the way she dropped them killed the laughter. It was like her stillness held a quiet pushback none of them could pin down. Jamal's smirk faltered, just for a heartbeat. Loretta coughed into her napkin, hiding her annoyance. Malik narrowed his eyes, intrigued. Keisha felt a shiver. Aisha's chill unsettled her, though she couldn't say why. She slipped her hand under the table, squeezing Aisha's fingers. "You're tougher than you look," she whispered. Aisha didn't reply. She didn't need to. The tension hung, building like a storm cloud, ready to break. But for now it simmered, the foundation of injustice cracking wide open. The tension in the dining hall cranked up like a bad engine. Every eye glued to Jamal as he leaned forward, lips curling into a razor-sharp sneer. Without a warning shot, he hawked and spat, straight across the table at Aisha. The glob landed smack near her plate, splattering droplets onto her blue dress like some twisted punctuation to his trash talk. The room went dead quiet. Gasps punched the air. Forks clattered like gunfire on plates. A hush dropped heavy, suffocating, making folks shift in their seats like they were sitting on nails. Aisha flinched, just a twitch, her eyes dropping to the stain blooming on her fabric. Her hands shook once, hard, before she clamped them down in her lap. No tears, no outburst, just that burning shame twisting in her gut, hot and unrelenting. Jamal barked a laugh, louder now, chest heaving like he just scored the winning touchdown. "Look at her. Worthless, embarrassing, a straight-up joke." Loretta shook her head slowly, that mock pity dripping from her like cheap perfume. "This is what happens when you marry down, son. Trash in, trash out." Malik chuckled low, swirling his wine like he was toasting the mess. "Damn, bro, you nailed it. She's got that deer in headlights vibe, frozen and pathetic." His grin flashed white, eyes glinting with that petty glee like he lived for piling on. Keisha jumped in quickly, snatching another napkin and leaning over to Aisha. "Here, girl, let me get that," she whispered, voice urgent and soft, dabbing at the spots with careful swipes. Aisha took a shallow breath, nodding faintly, her throat tight like it was stuffed with cotton. "Don't pay him no mind," Keisha murmured closer, her breath warm against Aisha's ear. "You're stronger than this BS." But as Keisha pulled back, her eyes darted to Jamal, lingering a beat too long. That pity mask cracked just a hair, revealing a flicker of something raw. Awe at his bold cruelty, that raw power he threw around like confetti. It vanished fast, but it sparked something dangerous in her chest, a pull she shoved down deep. The silence stretched, pressing on everyone's chest like a vice. Forks stayed down, glasses forgotten mid-lift, glances bouncing nervously between Aisha and the Thompson trio. Aisha sat ramrod straight, napkin clutched like a lifeline, blotting the mess with mechanical precision. Inside, her heart hammered, humiliation crashing in waves, betrayal slicing deep. But she locked it down, face a blank slate, hiding the storm. Jamal lounged back, arms crossed, smug, grin wide like he'd just closed a killer deal. "There you go," he boomed, voice carrying to every corner. "Now she matches how she feels. Straight trash." A couple of guests averted their eyes, cheeks flushing with secondhand shame. Too chicken shit to call out the big man. Others forced weak chuckles, jumping on the bandwagon to stay in his good graces. Loretta piped up first, breaking the freeze with a dramatic sigh. "Aisha, sweetie, maybe you ought to excuse yourself. You're killing the vibe here." Her words landed like slaps, laced with that calculated venom, eyes sparkling like she'd scripted the whole damn scene. Aisha lifted her chin slowly, locking gazes, cool, unblinking. "Appreciate the worry," she said softly, but with an edge that made Loretta's eyebrow twitch. "But I'm fine right where I am." Malik snorted, leaning in with that shark smile. "Ah, Ma, let her stick around. This is better than Netflix. Real-life drama on a silver platter. Jamal slapped the table again, roaring at the jab. Hell yeah! Let 'em all see what a deadweight wife looks like up close. Aisha's grip on the napkin turned white-knuckled, but she bit her tongue. Silence was her armor tonight, even if it screamed surrender to the peanut gallery. Keisha squeezed Aisha's hand under the table, whispering fiercely, You don't gotta take this crap. We can bounce. Leave 'em to their ego trip. Aisha turned her head a fraction, voice barely above a breath. Dipping out means they win, Keisha. I ain't giving 'em the satisfaction. Keisha's chest tugged, pity mixing with that unspoken envy. She shot another glance at Jamal, his laugh booming, commanding the room like a king on his throne. That power? It hit her different, stirring a forbidden thrill she masked quickly with a supportive nod. The dinner crawled on, air thick with awkward vibes. Servers tiptoed around, plates clinking like whispers in a library. Chit-chat sputtered back to life, but died quickly, overshadowed by the spit stain still fresh on Aisha's dress. Jamal ate it up, raising his glass once more with a mocking flourish. To my loyal wife, the queen of shut up and take it, may she stay silent forever and fade into the wallpaper. Nervous laughs trickled out from a few suck-ups, but most folks clammed up, forks poking at food gone cold. Nobody stepped up. No one dared cross the Thompson powerhouse. Aisha mirrored him, lifting her glass steadily, eyes scanning the faces. Jamal's smug mug, Loretta's superior smirk, Malik's calculating stare, and the guest dodging her gaze like it was contagious. Her lips quirked into a ghost of a smile. To family, she echoed, voice even, cutting through the noise like a quiet blade. That simple line snuffed the chuckles, hanging heavy. Her poise threw him off, a subtle flex none could quite name. Jamal's grin slipped for a split second, eyes narrowing. Loretta cleared her throat, fidgeting with her napkin to cover the irritation. Malik tilted his head, intrigued like he'd spotted a glitch in the matrix. Keisha shivered involuntarily, squeezing Aisha's hand tighter. You're holding it together like a boss, she whispered. But her mind wandered back to Jamal's dominance, that magnetic pull gnawing at her loyalty. As plates cleared and folks started murmuring excuses, the undercurrent buzzed, whispers about the blow-up, stolen glances at Aisha's stained dress. She stayed put, back straight, dignity clinging like armor. The injustice boiled, raw and exposed, but she held the line, her silence a ticking bomb none of them saw coming. The house fell silent after the dinner fiasco, guests slipping out like shadows, their whispers trailing into the night like smoke. Aisha moved slowly through the mansion's empty halls, her stained dress clinging like a bad memory, face blank but mind racing. She headed to her private study, a cozy nook tucked away, nothing like the flashy rest of the place. Bookshelves lined the walls, a wooden desk by the window, a single lamp casting a warm glow. This spot was hers, the one corner in the Thompson empire that didn't scream money or mockery. She dropped into the chair, hands flat on the desk. Her shoulders shook once, but she locked it down. No tears, not even alone. Jamal didn't get that win. Her thoughts spiraled back, unbidden, to the scars she'd buried deep. 2 years ago, she'd stood frozen in the hallway outside Jamal's office. Through the cracked door, low voices murmured, then a woman's laugh, bright, flirty, cutting. She nudged the door wider, just enough to peek. Jamal was behind his desk, hands wrapped around a woman with sleek black hair. Tasha, his interior designer, is all curves and confidence. Their lips locked, laughter mixing with kisses like they owned the damn world. Aisha's heart cracked quietly, but she didn't barge in. She eased the door shut, hand clamped over her mouth to muffle the silent sob. That night in their bedroom, she confronted him. "Who's she?" she asked, voice steady in the doorway. Jamal didn't flinch, just kept unbuttoning his shirt like it was nothing. "Don't start with that, Aisha. You're boring as hell. She's fire. End of." Her throat knotted. "You're my husband." He shot her a cold look. "And you're my headache. Be grateful I keep you around at all." She turned away, body rigid, heart bleeding silent. The memory stung like fresh salt on a cut. Another hit harder, A year later, Aisha sat across from Loretta in the grand living room, mustering the guts to spill. Loretta, she said softly, he's stepping out. I can't ignore it anymore. Loretta sipped her tea, spoon clinking casually against the cup. She set it down, eyes locking on Aisha like lasers. Tasha's better for him, she said flat out. She's got style, drive, presence, stuff you ain't got. Aisha's mouth fell open. You, you okay with it? Loretta leaned back, eyes narrowing. Girl, you were never Thompson material. Came from zilch, bring zilch. If he finds spark elsewhere, why block it? Aisha dropped her gaze, heart shattering under the weight. No allies in this house, just wolves in fancy clothes. The memory faded. Aisha stared at the lamp's glow. Scars throbbing, but hidden where nobody could poke them. A knock jolted her. Come in, she said quietly. The door creaked open, and Keisha stepped in with 2 steaming mugs. Her smile warmed the room, eyes soft. Figured you could use this, Keisha said, plunking one down in front of Aisha. Aisha's lips twitched into a tired smile. Thanks. Keisha plopped beside her. How you holding up? Aisha paused, then sighed. It stings like hell. Keisha nodded. No doubt. Getting dragged like that in front of everybody? Messed up. She pulled Aisha into a hug, arms tight, voice soothing. You don't deserve this crap. He's blind, cruel. You deserve way better. Aisha leaned in, letting the comfort sink in for a beat. Sometimes I wonder what I screwed up. Keisha pulled back, gripping her hands. You? Nada. You're gold. Too good for his ass. If he can't see it, his loss. Aisha's eyes misted, no tears falling. She nodded slowly. Thanks, Keisha. You're the only one riding with me. Keisha squeezed tighter, smiling gently. Always, girl. But when Aisha looked away, Keisha's warmth flickered out, eyes turning calculating. She was already replaying Jamal's power play at dinner, that bold laugh, the way he commanded. It lit something in her she couldn't shake. The mansion quieted as night deepened. Aisha headed upstairs, leaving Keisha alone in the study for a minute. Keisha stared at her half-empty mug, fingers tracing the rim, thoughts drifting to Jamal. She pictured him at the table head, fearless, owning every inch. Even his meanness had a pull, raw, electric. Hating herself a bit, she felt that rush again. When Aisha came back, Keisha dipped out, claiming she needed shut-eye. Aisha smiled faintly, thankful, and let her go. But Keisha didn't hit her guest room. She slinked down the hall, out a side door to the garden. Cool night air hit her, fountain gurgling softly. And there he was, Jamal, leaning on the stone wall, puffing a cigar. You showed, he said, sly grin cutting through the dark, voice low and smooth. Keisha's breath hitched. You asked. He stepped closer, cigar glow lighting his sharp jaw. Aisha, don't get me, Keisha. Never did. All quiet and dull. But you. He brushed her arm lightly, sending sparks. You see me clearly. Her pulse raced. She should have shoved him off, but she froze. His words sank in like sweet poison. She'd been Aisha's ride or die, but right then she let herself buy it, that she was special, different. You shouldn't talk like that, she whispered. No real fight in it. Jamal smirked. Why? You saw her tonight. Weak, nothing without me. And you, his eyes raked her slowly. You deserve the spotlight, not her shadow. Keisha swallowed hard, heart torn. She's my girl. Jamal leaned in, breath hot. And she's dragging you down, wasted on her. With me, though. He let it hang, loaded. Her breath shook. She looked away but didn't pull back. Deep down, a line got crossed. Head back before eyes spot you, he said finally, flicking the cigar into the fountain. But remember that. Keisha nodded faintly, slipping inside, head spinning. Just words, she told herself. But they burned like a secret flame, one she'd fan later. Upstairs, Aisha sat alone again. She tugged a small key from a chain under her dress, unlocking the desk's bottom drawer. Inside, neat stacks of papers, contracts, shares, proofs. Her fingers grazed them gently, like old friends. These were her quiet powers, showing she owned 90% of Thompson Realty. Years back, when Jamal's bad calls tanked the company, investors bailing, debts piling, she'd funneled her inheritance in secret, saving it all under a ghost name. Let him think he was the genius. Loretta praised his hustle. Malik eyed his spot. The world bought his kingpin act. None knew the truth. The empire rode on her silent grind. She eyed the papers, face calm, eyes steel. She could crush him with one word, strip his ego, his lies. But not yet. Aisha locked up, key back hidden. She stood, reflection in the window staring balefully. He saw weakness. Keisha saw the fragile. Loretta saw trash. Malik saw the invisible. All wrong. She flipped the lamp off, stepping into the hall. The house loomed dark, but inside her a spark ignited. Scars proved survival. Soon they'd flip to strength. The city buzzed that evening. Skyline lit like a promise. Thompson Realty threw a corporate bash for a fresh deal. Guests in flashy gowns and sharp suits packed the ballroom, music floating silkily. Aisha slipped in quietly in a dark green dress, modest against the bling. She hung back, fine with blending, but whispers followed. No escaping Jamal's show. He strutted in with Tasha on his arm, her hair shining, red dress screaming, "Look at me." She clung to his sleeve like she belonged. Jamal laughing loud, shaking hands, planting kisses, parading her like the real queen. Later that night, in a boardroom upstairs from the ballroom bash, the vibe shifted from party buzz to cutthroat business. Jamal stood at the head of the table, Malik flanking him like a shadow with a smirk. Loretta sat prim, chin high, eyes gleaming approval. Keisha hovered in the background, quiet but glued to every word. Jamal paced, laying out his grand scheme. "We're going big, branches in every major city, high-rises popping up like weeds. This is our shot to own the skyline." One director furrowed his brow. "It's risky as hell. Finances are tight. One flop and we're buried in debt." Jamal cut him off with a bark of a laugh. "Risk? That's for losers. Failure ain't in my vocab. You in or out?" Malik leaned forward, grinning sharply. "These old heads are too scared, bro. They don't get the vision. Swing big, win big." Jamal's chest puffed, soaking it up. His eyes flicked to Aisha at the table's end, hands folded, silent as a ghost. She listened, said zip, her quiet making her fade into the wallpaper, which suited her fine for now. But her eyes stayed locked, clocking every reckless word. When the meeting wrapped, Jamal brushed past her like she was air. Tasha clung to his arm, whispering sweet nothings. Loretta trailed, gushing, "Brilliant, Jamal. Your daddy'd be proud." Malik smirked, like he was the puppet master. Aisha lingered a beat, calm face hiding the storm brewing inside. The gala dragged late, but Jamal crashed in a hotel suite with Tasha. Aisha rode home solo, driver quiet as she stared out at the city lights blurring by. Each time Jamal flaunted Tasha, it wasn't just cheating. It was a billboard screaming she didn't count. Back at the mansion, Keisha slipped into Aisha's room, perched on the bed's edge. "You shouldn't put up with this mess," she said softly, shaking her head. "He parades her like a trophy. And Loretta? Straight up nasty." Aisha folded her arms tight. "It burns, yeah. But bolting now? They'd throw a party. I ain't gifting 'em that." Keisha hugged her fiercely, whispering, "I'm here no matter what." But as she pulled away, her mind raced to Jamal, his bold moves, that untouchable swagger. When she left Aisha's room, her feet carried her to the guest lounge, where Jamal crashed late nights. She found him there, whiskey in hand, tie loose. "You should be with your wife," Keisha said quietly, stepping in. Jamal smirked. "My wife? Don't crack me up. Aisha's dead weight. Quiet, no fight, no life. She just exists." Keisha bit her lip. "She's hurtin'." Jamal leaned close, voice dropping low. "And I'm done acting like I give a damn. Filing for divorce soon." Keisha's breath caught. "Divorce?" His eyes lit up arrogantly. "Yeah, lawyers are on it. She'll get scraps, maybe enough for a crappy apartment. Tasha steps up, and this family's finally legit." He tilted her chin up, smile wicked. "Who knows? Bigger spot for you, too. You get me. You see me." Keisha froze, heart pounding. She wanted to buy it because she was more than a side piece in his games. She nodded faintly, words stuck. The next afternoon, the mansion hummed quietly. Aisha hunkered in her study, flipping papers. She stepped out for a call, doozy or ajar. Keisha passed by, curiosity biting. She ducked in, eyes landing on the desk. Drawer cracked open. She tugged it wider, scanning folders. Shareholder certs, contracts. Her gut twisted as she skimmed. Words jumping about ownership, shares. But she shook it off, snapping the folder shut, shoving it back. To her, it was Aisha's desperate daydream, papers to cling to while Jamal stripped her bare. Keisha huffed a soft laugh, pitying her girl. She bounced without a second thought, blind to the bomb she'd just grazed. That evening, Jamal threw another tight-knit business dinner, smaller, more cutthroat. Tasha sat shotgun, glowing under his gaze. Loretta clinked her glass, toasting Tasha as the perfect face for Thompson Realty. Malik leaned in with Jamal, whispering about wild urban expansions, borrowing big for risky flips in hotspots. Aisha sat quietly again, invisible in her own crib. Keisha buzzed near Jamal, slipping him whispers about Aisha's fragile state, painting her as weaker than ever. "She's barely holding it together," Keisha murmured in his ear during a break, cracking under the pressure. Jamal grinned, filing it away like ammo. Every laugh, every dig, every backstab piled on Aisha like bricks. Yet she didn't buckle. Her silence thickened, sharp as a knife in waiting. They saw themselves as powerless. They saw cornered, wrong on all counts. The boardroom at Thompson Realty gleamed under harsh fluorescence, glass walls framing the city skyline like a trophy. Seats filled with execs, shareholders, and insiders, murmurs low as they waited. Jamal stood tall at the front, tailored suit sharp, smile cocky as hell. Tasha perched close, red dress popping, hand grazing his arm every few seconds like she was marking territory. Loretta sat beaming, proud as a peacock. Malik lounged with that sly grin, eyes plotting. And Aisha, tucked at the table's end, black dress simple, posture straight. She looked out of place to most, too quiet, too plain for this power play. Jamal raised his hands, silencing the room like a conductor. "Ladies and gents," he boomed, voice dripping confidence. "Today I'm not just running Thompson Realty, I'm launching it into the stratosphere." Applause kicked off, Loretta and Malik leading the charge. Tasha clapped like his every word was gold. Jamal's grin stretched wider. "We're expanding hard, new developments in every hot urban spot, loans stacked high for those skyline flips. Yeah, costs are steep, risks are real, but winners don't play it safe. I don't play safe." He paced, firing up the crowd, eyes daring dissent. The room ate it up, clapping, though not everyone's face screamed buy-in. Whispers of doubt hid under smiles. Loretta lifted her chin. "Genius, Jamal. Your pops would pop champagne." Malik whispered loud enough for Jamal to catch. "Ignore the scaredy cats. Push it. They'll line up when the cash rolls." Jamal nodded, ego inflating like a balloon. His gaze landed on Aisha. No clap, no movement, just watching with that unnerving calm. He brushed it off fast. "Aisha," he called out, turning heads her way. "You approve? Or you gonna ghost us like always, acting like you belong?" Chuckles rippled, fueled by his jab. Loretta sighed dramatically, fake sympathy oozing. Keisha, near Loretta, leaned in with a smirk that stuck. Aisha rose slowly, every move deliberate, hands folded. "Jamal," she said softly but clearly, words carrying. "I ain't pretendin'," he smirked. Finally the mute speaks. Isha's eyes swept the table, hitting every suit and tie. She placed a folder down gently, sliding it to the center. "You talk bold visions, dominance, but you miss the basics." The room hushed. All stares locked on her. She flipped the folder open, spreading docs, certs, contracts, stamps solid as stone. Her hand rested lightly on them. "I own Thompson Realty, 90%. Gasps exploded, murmurs hitting like a wave. Faces twisted in shock, disbelief ripping through. Jamal froze, then laughed weakly, building louder. "This? Bull. A joke. Aisha, sit your ass down before you tank yourself more. Keisha barked a laugh, waving dismissively. She's tripping. Desperate. Don't waste air on it. Aisha didn't blink. Laugh all you want. Mock away. Truth doesn't need your okay. She pushed docs to the nearest exec. Check 'em. Every sig, every seal. The papers flew hand to hand. Eyes bugged. Voices shook as reality hit. One suit looked up, face pale. It's legit. Aisha is a holder. Chaos erupted. Gasps, whispers flooding every inch. Jamal's laugh choked off, color draining like he'd seen a ghost. Loretta slammed the table. No way, this is a scam. Malik's smirk vanished, eyes darting frantically. Keisha sat stunned, lips parted, grin gone. The hit landed hard. She'd backed the wrong horse. Betrayal for zilch. Aisha stood firm, voice steady as steel. Jamal Thompson, you ain't calling shots here no more. You're out as CEO, effective now. The room blew up again, but Aisha's vibe shut it down easily. She turned to Malik. Your shady schemes? Done. No more poison whispers. Malik's jaw clenched, silent. To Loretta. Years of trash talk, calling me worthless. But I built this ground you strut on. Your say? Zero. Loretta's face contorted with rage, words failing. Finally to Jamal, rigid, fists balled, ego cracking. Aisha, hold up, he stammered. We can fix... No, she cut sharply. His eyes widened. Please, I didn't know. You'd spit anyway, she sliced, voice like ice. You humiliated me in public. Today, I hit back with the truth, and truth doesn't forgive. Jamal's knees buckled, reaching out, but she stepped back, unshakable. Keisha's voice cracked, desperate. Aisha, wait. You know me. I was always... Aisha's gaze hit her cold. You stabbed quiet, Keisha. Worse than loud hate. Traded loyalty for scraps. Keisha crumpled, head down, tears stinging. The room hung silent, every eye on Aisha with fresh awe. She gathered her Stockholm Lyom, tucking him away. Meeting's over. Thompson Realty runs with heart now, not ego. Grow smart, not reckless. Succeed without selling our soul. Aisha turned, striding to the door, steps even, back straight. Behind, Jamal slumped into his chair, wrecked. Tasha slipped out quietly, ditching the sinking ship. Loretta sat stunned, power gutted. Malik stared down, plans nuked. Keisha froze, betrayal leaving her hollow. Aisha walked out with head high. Not just payback, but rebirth. Real power whispers. Integrity lasts. Betrayal bites the hand that feeds. The Thompson Realty boardroom pulsed with tension. Glass walls reflecting the city lights like accusing eyes. Seats crammed with shareholders, execs, and advisors. Voices buzzing low before the hammer dropped. Jamal commanded the front, suit crisp, grin wide as a shark's. Tasha sat glued to him, red dress screaming confidence, fingers brushing his sleeve possessively. Loretta perched proudly, chin up, eyes sparkling with approval. Malik lounged casually, a smirk hinting at inside plays. Keisha hung back, leaning forward, eager, her gaze flicking to Jamal with that hidden hunger. Aisha, at the table's tail end, simple black dress, posture locked, too quiet, too overlooked for this high-stakes circus. Jamal clapped his hands, killing the chatter. Folks, he boomed, voice thick with swagger, today ain't just business, it's empire building. Claps erupted, Loretta and Malik pumping it up. Tasha applauded like his hype girl. Jamal's chest swelled. We're scaling up, urban flips everywhere, big loans for those skyline grabs. Yeah, risks, heavy, costs, steep. But history digs the bold, and I'm the boldest. He strutted, pumping the room, eyes challenging pushback. Applause rolled again, though some faces twitched doubt under the smiles. Loretta beamed. Spot on, Jamal. Your dad'd be cheering. Malik muttered just for him. Screw the wimps. Ram it through. They'll chase the winds. Jamal soaked it, ego on steroids. His stare hit Aisha. No reaction, just that steady watch unnerving him for a flash. He shrugged it off. Aisha, he hollered, spotlighting her. You buying this or staying zipped, pretending you matter? Snickers spread, his mockery fueling him. Loretta shook her head in pity. Keisha's smirk stuck, eyes hungry on Jamal. Aisha rose deliberately, every inch controlled, hands clasped. She stood tall, face calm, voice cutting clear. Jamal, she said, Eve, words landing like quiet bombs. No pretending here. He smirked wider. The shadow speaks. Spill it. Aisha's eyes raked the table, nailing every gaze. She laid her folder down softly, sliding it to the center. You hype dominance, bold moves, missing the core. Silence dropped heavily, stares locked. She opened it, fanning docs, share certs, contracts, seals, ironclad. Handlight on them, she declared. I own Thompson Realty, 90%. Gas punched the air, murmurs exploding like fireworks. Faces twisted, shock, denial, chaos brewing. Jamal froze, laughter starting shaky then blasting. This crap? A prank. Aisha, park it before you embarrass us worse. Keisha cackled, hand waving. Delusional. She's grasping. Kill the clock. Aisha stood unflinching. Mock on. Truth stands solo. She shoved the docs to the closest suit. Verify. Every mark, every bind. Papers zipped hand to hand. Eyes widened, whispers trembled as facts sank. One exec paled, voice cracking. It's real. Aisha's the big dog, majority owner. Room detonated, gasps flooding, chairs scraping. Jamal's laugh died, face ashen like he'd been gut-punched. Loretta banged the table. Impossible, forgery. Malik's grin evaporated, eyes calculating panic. Keisha sat rigid, smirk wiped, realization slamming. Her betrayal, wasted on a sinking ship. Aisha held steady, voice unyielding. Jamal Thompson, your reign's done. CEO, fired now. Uproar spiked, but her calm sliced through. She pivoted to Malik. Your backroom BS, over. No more toxic whispers. Malik's jaw locked, mute. To Loretta, years trashing me, calling me nothing. But I laid this foundation. Your clout? Zilch. Loretta's rage twisted her face, speechless. Finally Jamal, stiff, fists clenched, arrogance crumbling. Aisha, wait, we can deal. Nah, she snapped. Eyes wide, he begged. I didn't know. If I had, you'd spit anyway, she cut, voice razor. Public shame? I repay with facts. Facts don't bend. Jamal staggered, grasping air, but she dodged, rock solid. Keisha's plea cracked, desperate. Aisha, hold up. You know me. Always had your back. I didn't. Aisha's stare iced her. Proof says different. She whipped out her phone, flashing screens. Texts, meetup logs, Keisha's secret Jamal chats. Loyal? Nah. You sold out for his scraps, backstabbed in shadows. Keisha's face crumpled, head dropping, tears burning. The room gawked, awe mixing with the fallout. Aisha gathered her papers smoothly, tucking them away. Drama peaked, air electric with the flip. They'd seen her weak. Now the throne was hers. Aisha stood unyielding in the boardroom chaos, her voice slicing through the uproar like a clean blade. Jamal Thompson, she declared, eyes locked on his crumbling facade. You're fired. Right here, right now. Pack your crap and get out. The words landed heavy, sucking the air from the room. Jamal staggered back, face twisting from shock to fury, fists balling white-knuckled. You can't! You ain't got the juice for this! But his bluster cracked, voice pitching high like a cornered dog. Shareholders shifted, murmurs rising, some nodding slowly, others gaping like they'd witnessed a ghost flip the script. She pivoted sharply to Loretta, who sat rigid, lips pursed in denial. Your poisoned tongue? Done running this show. You're out. No board seat, no influence, no more trash talking from the sidelines. Loretta's eyes bulged, her hand slamming the table again. You little nobody. I built this family. You came from dirt. But her screech echoed hollow, power evaporating like steam. Aisha didn't flinch, just held that steady gaze. Dirt? Nah, I laid the foundation. You just squatted on it. Loretta deflated, slumping back, face flushing red with impotent rage. Malik jumped up next, chair scraping loudly, smirk long gone, replaced by raw panic. This is BS. You can't just... Aisha cut him off cold. Your shady side deals? Over. You're stripped. No exec role, no access. Get gone before security hauls you. Malik's eyes darted frantically, calculating escape routes, but the room's stares pinned him. Bro, back me up, he hissed at Jamal, but Jamal just stood frozen, world crumbling. Malik cursed under his breath, sinking back, dreams of carving up the empire shattered like cheap glass. Tasha bolted first, slipping from Jamal's side like oil on water, heels clicking fast toward the door. This ain't my mess, she muttered, not even glancing back as she ditched him cold. Jamal reached out, pathetic. Tasha, wait! But she vanished, phone already out, probably lining up her next mark. The betrayal hit him like a gut punch, leaving him wheezing, alone in the spotlight he'd craved. The boardroom doors burst open minutes later, lawyers flooding in, papers flying as lawsuits sparked like wildfires. Shareholders clamored, demanding audits, fingers pointing at Jamal's reckless loans that now loomed like ticking bombs. Those urban flips? Suicide, one exec barked. We're drowning in debt because of your ego trip. Jamal's phone buzzed nonstop. Creditors calling in markers, partners bailing. He slumped into a chair, head in hands, empire unraveling thread by thread. Loretta clutched her pearls, whispering frantically to Malik, but he shoved her off, dialing his own escape hatches, only to hit dead ends. The family Thompson, sinking fast in a sea of red ink and legal hell, no life rafts in sight. Aisha watched the fallout unfold, chest steady, no gloating, just quiet command. She stepped to the head of the table, folder tucked under arm, voice rising clear above the din. Listen up. Thompson Realty's mine now. Full control. No more wild gambles. No ego-driven BS. We're rebuilding sustainable, ethical deals, community-first projects, profits that don't sell our soul. Heads nodded reluctantly at first, then eager eyes lit with respect she'd never seen. One shareholder stood, clapping slowly. About damn time. Others joined, the room shifting from chaos to reluctant buy-in. She delegated quickly, firing off orders to scrub the bad loans, pivot to green developments in underserved hoods. Cut the fat, invest smart, she snapped to a lingering exec. We thrive without crushing folks. Her mind raced ahead, visions of turning the company into something real, affordable housing flips that lifted neighborhoods, not just lined pockets. For the first time, the weight on her shoulders felt like power, not chains. She glanced at the window, city skyline mocking the old regime. Her reflection stared back fierce, unbroken. Jamal lurched up finally, face a mask of desperation. Aisha, please, we can work this. I messed up, but family. She turned, eyes steel. Family? You spat on that. Now choke on the fallout. He crumpled, escorted out by security, muttering curses that bounced off the walls. Loretta trailed, screeching empty threats, but guards hustled her too. Her queen B-days nuked. Malik slunk last, shooting Aisha a venomous glare. This ain't over! But his voice wobbled, hollowness betraying the bluff. Keisha approached last, tears streaking, hands wringing. Aisha, I screwed up badly. Forgive me. I was lost. He got in my head. Aisha's stare pierced. Lost? You chose. Texts don't lie. Keisha sobbed, collapsing into a chair, regret hitting like a freight train, her betrayal leaving her isolated, irrelevant, in the ruins. As the room cleared, Aisha stood alone, breathing deep. The scars burned faint now, survival morphing to triumph. She stepped out, head high, dignity armor thick. No more shadows. Real strength, quiet, enduring. Betrayers? They reap their own storm. And Aisha? Reborn, owning every inch. And there you have it, folks. The story of Aisha Thompson, a woman who turned quiet strength into unbreakable power. At its heart, this tale reminds us that true power doesn't shout or strut. It whispers through integrity and endurance, while betrayal always comes back to bite the ones who wield it. We've all faced moments where we've been underestimated or stabbed in the back. How have you risen above it? Share your own stories of quiet triumphs or lessons learned in the comments below. I'd love to hear how this resonates with you. Stick around, because next time, we're diving into another gripping tale of hidden resilience and sweet justice that'll have you cheering from your seat. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for watching and being part of this journey. Your support means the world. See you soon, family. Take care.